Welcome back to Boxing on the Edge. I hope everyone's doing great. This week's episode is a little different. We're going to talk about science and how it plays a part in throwing the left hook, which muscle groups are involved, where the power comes from, how to generate power, what types of left hook, and what types of bones are involved in the impact as well. So it's going to be a little bit different. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into the video.
Boxing.
Okay, the left hook. This is probably a fan's favorite punch to see. It's definitely my favorite punch to throw. It's a beautiful punch. It's a complicated punch. Where does all the power come from? So there's something called a kinetic chain, okay, which is an alignment of your muscles which generate in the accumulation of the power shot. Okay, now I don't know that much about kinetic chain. I've just recently looked it up and I watched the video earlier today, so I just want to give a disclaimer that I'm not a sports scientist, and I would highly recommend you watching the link that I put in the description, because it has sports scientists and doctors actually talking about it. In layman's terms, it's an alignment and it's generating power through different groups of muscles, okay? Because the left hook, actually, you're using your entire body. And you do that with some other punches too, but with the left hook, it's more. So it starts from the feet and it goes all the way through to your legs, your knees, your hamstrings, your glutes, your abs, your pecs, your deltoid, the trapeze, the rotator cuff, and it's just a big combination of all of those in a kinetic chain that creates such a devastating punch. There are generally two types of left hooks, where you're shooting the left hook like this and your palm is facing down, okay? Or you're coming around and you have the thumb, you've got your palm facing you and the thumb facing up, okay? Two slightly different hooks, or completely different if you really want to look at it from the shortness and the trajectory of it. Like a palm facing down is typically a little bit shorter. You don't get as much leverage on it, and a lot of people think it's not as powerful, including me. The palm facing up comes around and then bam, like that, okay? So you're using pectoral muscles, you're using the deltoids, the trapeze, and obviously all the other muscles, your hamstring, your gluteus maximus, your abdominal muscles, your obliques at the back, and the wrist flexors are more powerful in the wrist than the wrist extensors, okay? Now the wrist flexors are usually reside right here, and you can feel it when you're moving, like shooting there. A lot of the energy is coming from there, okay? Not to mention the bigger muscles on the back, the bigger muscles on the chest. So it's a whole bigger muscle group that's allowing that leverage. And then when you whip it around, it picks up a lot of steam, but it's being pushed by the muscle groups, and that's why it does so much damage. So when you combine all those muscle groups together, not to mention when you're sitting down and your feet are pressed down, and then the energy comes up with all the muscle groups, and you come around with the leverage, and then it connects. I mean, my God, I'm trying to think of some fighters that I used to love, or still do love, their left hooks. Danny Garcia's got a good left hook, we know that. His is a palm facing down, and it's very effective for him. He can do it superbly. I used to love Miguel Cotto's left hook. I still do love it. He's obviously retired, but he was a tremendous left hooker. Oscar De La Hoya obviously had a superb left hook. Jaron Ennis has, for the most part, what I've seen, he's got that wide, extended, looping, powerful, thumb facing up left hook. Fascinating how much power he generates. So yeah, it is interesting seeing some of the top pros and how they throw them, and they're all a little bit different, you know. Such a complicated, fascinating punch, the left hook. Really, really interesting. In terms of impact, ideally, you know, you want to have the impact of your hand or arm at a right angle, okay? You don't have to. If you are like more experienced, you can get away with the punch coming in at a different angle. But if you are a beginner, you're going to want to finish the hook like that, simply because, well, it will prevent yourself from getting injured, but you're also going to create the most amount of impact, because the two bones that are situated here, the radius and the ulna, remember that from science class? It's the two bone muscles in your arm, and they want to line up. So you use the two knuckles like that, and the point of impact is there. Bam, and the power is transferring through the bones, creating a boom. It's the same if you're throwing a straight right, boom. You want the power to travel through your arm like this. The more bent your arm is, and you're going to bend your wrist, and you're going to create injuries. Alright, and that is it for this week. Slightly different video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the like button if you liked it. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Boxing on the Edge. Before I go, I just want to give a shout out to James Wood, the kitchen man, keeping it real in Sheffield. He sent me a private message the other day. He's like, Henry, can you do me a favour? I like it when you put music in videos. I'm like, James, I didn't say this to him, but I'm like, I put music in all my videos, but I think I know what he meant, the ones without me talking. So I'm talking in this one, obviously, but I'll put music in video. So I hope you like it, pal. I hope you're doing okay there in Sheffield, alright, lad? Anyway, Boxing on Edge. See you next time.